All right, good morning. Good morning. What's going on, everybody? Get those levels right. Got to get those levels right. Good morning. Hopefully, everybody's doing okay. Probably not great today. I get it if you're not. Lakers lose, get their aces kicked by the Sacramento Kings. We got a lot to get into this morning. Lakers basketball. What's happening with Lakers basketball? What is going on here? I'm a little bit early this morning. I don't know. I was just ready to go. I was sitting around. Kind of weird. The days that I had less time is the days that I don't know, prepare for, more ready for the show. I can't even explain it to you. Cheers to everybody here. Yes, got a lot of Lakers, got a lot of NBA to get into. I'm looking forward to that. Not the most positive stuff around Lakers basketball right now, but that's all right. Doesn't mean we can't just kind of kick back and talk some basketball and get everybody's thoughts and opinions. So I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. I'm going to give everyone a quick rundown of the show here in just a second. Just a reminder, tonight, another Lakers game. I think I told everybody yesterday, by the way, I think I told everybody 7 is the game. It's 7:30. So 7:30. I was looking at ESPN after the show, and the game is going to be at 7:30 tonight. So just a heads up on that. Cheers to you all. Not in a rush this morning. Not in a rush. Let me look at a couple of comments before I give a rundown here. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Are we talking Lakers here? Is that what's going on here? A couple other people already saying trash. Show hasn't even started yet. Can I have a second to slowly but surely get into the show before you start saying Lakers are trash? All right, let me give everyone a quick rundown what we got going on for the show today. Obviously, we're going to spend some time talking about that loss yesterday, Lakers to the Sacramento Kings. This is a really bad loss. There's a lot of different ways to break it down. We could talk about the role players. We could talk about the lack of defense. To be honest with you, what I kind of want to do, when you have games like yesterday, it might ignite more people to be frustrated, to be upset, to be this, to be that, whatever the case is. So I'm also going to let people just kind of give their thoughts and their opinion. My hope is that anybody that just chime in from last night's game, any comments that you have gives me something to work with as far as a topic or a conversation. So feel free to obviously chime in as much as you guys would like this morning, and I'll do my best to get to some of the comments. So Lakers lose to the Kings. Wonder about some of these role players. Man, it is such just a complete gamble every single night. The Lakers throw a role player out there. I got no idea what any of these role players are going to do for the Lakers. Absolutely no idea. And I think last night was a perfect example of it. We'll talk about some of the role players. Does this kind of change how aggressive Lakers are going to be? Just kind of watching right now where they are in the standings, the direction that they're going in. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you the world's going to end, but in 2 weeks from now, if they keep playing basketball like this, they'll be in that number 7 spot, and maybe they're the 7th best team in the NBA or 7th best team in the Western Conference. I'm just curious if this makes the Lakers more likely to go make a trade. How aggressive are they? Do they just kind of have to sit back and say, all right, well, we got to wait for some of our players to come back? We'll get into that as well. We'll see if that has any effect on the trade market for the Lakers. We'll have a conversation about JJ Redick. A lot of negativity going towards JJ Redick right now. So I want to have just kind of a full conversation. What are some of the things people are looking at with JJ Redick that they like and they dislike? I think that's obviously worth the conversation. Rui Hachimura did not play last night, even though he was available for the Lakers. So we'll have the Rui chat as well. For me, I think the question about Rui is more than anything else, how much do we value Rui Hachimura? Because I got to be honest with you, in this entire time that he's been out, we haven't talked about Rui a lot. I think Reaves' value is definitely going up, but not as much from a Rui perspective. We'll find out about LeBron tonight, second of back-to-backs. Does this jersey patch that he's doing, does that mean anything? I got some people trying to signal that, hey, does this mean this is his final season because he's got this commemorative jersey patch that he's putting on each one of the remainder of his games? We'll talk about the Lakers taking on the Atlanta Hawks tonight. I think what people are kind of forgetting about, tonight's a tough game against Atlanta. Sammy will not get a chance to do a preview video today because just too quick of a turnaround here. By the time I finished the game yesterday, I got the show this morning. So Sammy, I told him just come on and we'll do a live preview of the Lakers and the Hawks. So he'll get into the CJ McCollum of it all, the Jalen Johnson, some of these other players for the Atlanta Hawks. Lakers played them earlier in the year and got beat up pretty good against Atlanta. So that was earlier in the season. And then NBA news trade market. And there was an article in the LA, or where was the article? I think it was in the Athletic, basically proposing the trades that they'd love to see is Sam Vicente on the Athletic. So we'll look into some of those, obviously some of those trades there and see how much of any of those could potentially come to fruition or it's just a pipe dream. All right, I'm going to take a look at a few of the comments here. Let's see what we have. Let's go to the bottom here. If you're trading players based on what they've done this season, you'll never get what you want in return. Here's the only difference here. And let's just kind of start. We'll get the show started. I'll read a few of these and take it from there. So here's one of the things that I'll mention in regards to what Lakers have from an asset perspective. I don't think anybody's dying to have the Lakers assets, but what they might have is some trade what they might want is some players that have expiring contracts in any type of trade. So there's value in players. It might just not be their play. There could be value in maybe a team says, you know what, now we'll take a flyer on Dalton Connect. We think we think he just needs a new scenery. But that doesn't mean that there's going to be a lot of value when you actually physically trade him. So to answer this question, trading players based on what they've done this season, you'll never get what you want. I think what you're trying to say is there's a lot of players that you just have no idea what they're going to give on a night in, night out basis, which reduces their value. All right, let me take a look at another one here. The hesitation to shoot for the role players is what makes the passing game so hard because they are predictable and don't scare the defense in missing assignments. Good point there. Okay, let's get this one, and then I want to talk about Lakers and the Kings from last night. Thank you all for being here, by the way. Please subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. If you're not a member, please consider it. I got to figure out when I'm going to do a member show this week. I might do something on Thursday. I think Thursday is when I might do it. Just everything's so crammed in right now based off of, obviously the games Lakers have. 5 games in 7 nights, by the way. Man, I'm so fed up with this team. And please, people need to stop saying we need Reaves back. We are first-round exit at best. Clean house, keep Luka, fire Ron. Let's go, Walter. Mark Walter, he's talking about there. I'm going to come back. I think Reaves is its own conversation because I think actually Reaves' stock and value is going up based on watching what the Lakers have right now. But I'll come back to this. Lakers and the Kings last night. Was not expecting that at all. I think that's what kind of threw me off more than anything last night is I think there's certain games where I'm prepared. I'm prepared that Lakers are probably going to go down the wire against the Milwaukee Bucks. I felt like it was going to be a tough game, a close game, a competitive game. The Bucks are a little bit desperate. So I thought there was something there. I could predict that one. I saw it coming. Let me give another game. Let me kind of think here. Some of these other games for the Lakers where they're a little bit easier to predict. And when they're easier to predict, there's a little bit more of a soft landing. You kind of know that, all right, this is what it's going to look like. Then I have an idea that I'm just using a game as an example off the top of my head. If the Lakers are going to play the Rockets, I know, okay, this is going to be. If Lakers are going to play San Antonio at San Antonio, and LeBron's not going in a second back-to-back, I'm not expecting the Lakers to win that game. I'm more prepared for games like this. Maybe against Detroit, I expected them to lose. At Phoenix before they played the Christmas game. Last night kind of slapped me across the face. And I can't really figure out, walking away from that game, was it what a lot of people are trying to say, JJ Redick, some of the players, hey, you know what, Sacramento just shot really well. Did they? They shot almost 60% from the field and over, I want to say 65% from the three-point line. No shit, they shot really well. Nobody's saying that they didn't shoot very well. Nobody's questioning that or denying that. My head-scratching moment is, how did the Sacramento Kings shoot that well against you? Did they just have one good night and that's it? They're not going to have another night like that before? Maybe. Listen, I know Sacramento is not known for being a tremendous three-point shooting team or this prolific offense. They have a lot of weird pieces. I'm sure a lot of these guys are going to get traded. I don't know the direction the Sacramento Kings are going in. The problem is when you do that against the Los Angeles Lakers, who are already struggling coming into this game, to me, it doesn't do anything for me to hear some of the excuses that were laid out last night. Yesterday was one of those, you walk into, you walk in, I'm going to give as an example. You walk into work and all of a sudden your boss is he's yelling at everybody. This came out of nowhere. No one saw it coming. And you're looking around like, what the hell just happened? I thought everything, I know we're behind our numbers for the quarter, but damn, I didn't know this was going to be the day that our boss laid into us and everything just blew up at the office. That was kind of last night for me with the Lakers. Last night was just a slap across my face saying, yes, we get it. They need players. They need better role players. They need 3-and-D guys. There's a big picture, small picture. There's players that you're looking at. You're wondering, is this guy going to be part of the future? Is this guy not going to be part of the future? When you get a chance to properly rebuild around Luka, all those questions are always there night to night. I just didn't expect yesterday to come against the Sacramento Kings. If it happened against the Atlanta Hawks, maybe I could sit here and tell you, well, Hawks are a little bit more consistent. The team, this, that, whatever. They're better when they don't have Trae Young. I don't think anybody was expecting it. So I thought that's why last night was a louder loss than some of the other losses. Maybe this is the new trend for the Lakers. Maybe when they play squads, they make all these other teams look so much better than they really are. I could tell you this. I could tell you that, LeBron kind of got his early. Luka had 42, but really didn't put much in the fourth quarter. You had a couple of guys that were contributing as well. I mean, I don't want to downplay 42, but what I'm trying to say is Luka was killing it in the fourth quarter. They seemed to kind of calm him down a little bit. When I look at this team right now, and I'm trying to figure out how they keep their head above water, if you're getting your ass kicked against the Sacramento Kings, that's a difficult one to kind of find a map where you're like, oh, okay, well, this is how they get back on track. We'll see what they do tonight. One loss is one loss, but second of a back-to-back, it's going to be more difficult. And the inconsistency with some of these role players is obviously a big-time headache. But, you want to talk about a lack of defense. I don't remember, and I was saying this yesterday in the postgame show, I don't remember breaking down a team stat line and seeing a 60% from the field and a 65% from the three-point line. You can't figure out your defense, you're not going to go anywhere. And unfortunately for the Lakers, it feels like that's the direction that they're going in. And, in the past, I think there was a little bit of like, all right, hey, it's just one loss here, it's just one loss there. It's about a month of bad basketball. And, by the time this week is done, you're halfway through the NBA season. And I think we are kind of starting to see a trend that doesn't seem like it's going to change anytime soon. And that piece is very, very frustrating I'm sure for a lot of Laker fans out there, and I'm sure for the team and the players and everybody else. But I'm not 100% sure what's going to change it. Here's why I'm not 100% sure what's going to change it. Let me ask everybody this question as we look at yesterday's game. If I say Jake LaRavia, if I say, what's Jake LaRavia going to do tonight? Do you have an answer to that? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't. I'm not 100% sure what Jake LaRavia is going to do tonight. Okay, let me throw another player out there. If I said, hey, do you know what DeAndre Ayton is going to do tonight? I'm not sure. How about Marcus Smart? How about Jared Vanderbilt? How about Gabe Vincent? How about Dalton Connect? Maybe the only Laker role player that I know what he's going to do tonight is Jackson Hayes. That's it. Because every other player that I just mentioned, that I just kind of listed here, there is such a wild swing between every role player that the Lakers have. Because DeAndre 'Ayton can give you 13 and 13 like he did yesterday. but he can also very likely give you 8-4 tonight. Jake LaRavia can give you 2-2 like he did last night, or maybe he drops 21 tonight like he did, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago when he had that 21-point performance and 26-point performance. Marcus Smart can hit 4 threes for you, or he can have 1 point in 31 minutes. Guys, the wild swings between these Lakers role players. There's nobody you can depend on. There's just nobody on this Lakers team that you can depend on that's a role player. And it's not just the bench guys. I know some people are talking in the chat about, the bench is this, that. They had a couple of starters that I got no idea what they're going to give on a night in, night out basis. I have absolutely no idea if a role player, if Lakers are, if there's a role player out there that's going to come in. If you told me Gabe Vincent tonight gave you 15 points, I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. If he gave you 3, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. And I could kind of say that with every single role player that the Lakers have. They'll probably get Rui back tonight, but these swings with these role players, they're all over the place. And if I'm going to give JJ Redick take a little bit of pressure off his back, I don't think he knows when any of his role players are going to give on a night in, night out basis. That can't be easy to coach. And I'm not here to, try to give JJ Redick a free pass, because I think, obviously you always start with your head coach and you kind of start that trickle down effect in one game. And we'll have that conversation about JJ. But Jesus, these role players. Yeah, I saw a stat yesterday. Let me see if I could find this. BK, Brian Kamenetsky, put out a tweet yesterday. It said, in 90 seconds, Bronny outscored Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, and Jared Vanderbilt combined. I was like, Jesus, is that not a slap in the face? It slaps me in the face, as in like, what? Basically, Bronny's in towards the end of the game. Lakers are shooting 16% from the three-point line. He hits a couple of threes. And just by hitting those couple of threes, he outscored Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, and Jared Vanderbilt, who all played big minutes. I mean, as much as I'd like to see the Lakers on a more consistent basis, as much as I talk about the Lakers' defense and lack of defense and everything else, their role players honestly are so all over the place. You just can't build anything consistently because you have no idea what these guys are going to give on it. Tonight, JJ Redick's going to walk in a game against the Atlanta Hawks, 7:30 tip-off at home. Lakers have lost 3 in a row. Atlanta's won 3 in a row. And if you asked him honestly, hey, what do you think Marcus Smart's going to give you tonight? He's going to be like, I have no idea. What do you think DeAndre Ayton's going to give you tonight? I have no idea. How would he know what any of his role players are going to give him based on what they've done so far this year? So kind of wild ups and downs so far for the Lakers. Not sure if it's going to change. Hopefully it changes tonight, but that's kind of where the Lakers are right now. I'm going to read some of your comments here. Before I do so, shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm, proud partner of the channel. Thank you for being a partner now. Last season, this season as well. Great partnership that I've had, and a great friend that I've had in Brad Wallace for a number of years. I've told you guys the story before. He was with me, and I got to represent his company when I was on radio. Now I get a chance to do this on YouTube, and hopefully this continues to expand with part of our iHeart partnership. Nonetheless, if you are looking for an injury attorney, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Start right there. Wrongful death case, serious injury, you have no idea what to do. You're looking for just a reputable attorney that you can rely on, depend on, and can point you in the right direction. You got your guy. Brad Wallace at the Wallace firm, wallacewins.com/Sliwa, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Shout out to him, his entire team, who have been great in this partnership. So thank you to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. All right, let's take a look at some of these comments here. Let's see what people are saying. Went on a rant there. I went on a rant. No, buy a house that's not for sale this deadline. Okay, I'm going to go back to, what does this do? Seiko was looking at my rundown. And he knew how to help me transition back to a topic that I was trying to get into. aggressive. How how does the way the Lakers are playing right now, does that change anything for that front office to say, Jesus, we gotta stop the bleeding here. Just go make a move. I mean, I was watching Keon Ellis yesterday. He only played 13 minutes for the Sacramento Kings. They're not depending on Keon Ellis, and frankly, they're crazy if they think they're getting a first rounder when they're not even using him. It's not even like they're getting an opportunity to show his value. So I mean, just kind of put that one to the side. But buy a house that's not for sale. If you're trying to buy a house that's not for sale, typically you're going to have to pay over asking price, or if there isn't even a price on it, you're basically very, very aggressive. Like, we're going to get that house. All right, you're going to have to pay for it. And I think this is what Seiko is talking about. I don't know if this changes anything for the Lakers, but I think a month ago, if you were looking at the Lake Show and you were asking the question of, okay, trade deadline, what are you going to do? Give up a first rounder. The team is looking good. They're playing hard every single night, and they're in a good position in the Western Conference. Does it change anything? I don't think this late struggle should change the Lakers' kind of game plan. I don't think it should. I think the game plan should be the exact same. We only make a move if it makes sense with Luka Doncic for the next couple of years. Or we give up such little compensation that it's worth making a tweak and it doesn't really affect us. Like that article ESPN had last week where it was basically a second round pick in Dalton Connect. And if that could land you Keon Ellis, what did you really give up? You know, Dalton Connect, I'm not even going to have the conversation about. Unfortunately, this is just kind of who Dalton Connect is. And until he goes to another team, I think this is who he's going to be. And a second rounder isn't going to kill you. And you could get Keon Ellis, a player that you desperately need this year. A move like that to me would tell me that, all right, they're being very cautious. They're being smart. They're not giving up a first rounder for a player that's not worth a first rounder because they're desperate. Don't be desperate. If this season it's not in the cards and you can't compete in the Western Conference and the best you could do is 6th or 7th in the West and you got to really kind of retool things in the summer, then do that. You shouldn't be chasing something. If you're the Houston Rockets, you should be chasing. If you're the San Antonio Spurs, you probably don't need to chase because you're in a good position. If you're the Golden State Warriors, maybe you're chasing because you got this window with Steph Curry that continues to close. Every team's in a different position. And I think it would be reckless for the Lakers to make some type of a move that's only benefiting this season. All right, let's see what else we have here. Dalton Connect is a very good player, but he will never be with this coach on this team. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how anyone could say Dalton Connect is a very good player. What have you seen from Dalton Connect? Listen, there's also going to come a time where Dalton Connect just needs to hit some shots and show a little bit of consistency on the floor. I said this last night during the postgame show. If Dalton Connect can't show his value when Austin Reaves was out and Gabe Vincent was out, two guards, one of them that comes off the bench and has a role, the other one that's an all-star. If you cannot show your value when those two players are out for a significant amount of time, and people were already questioning what your value was, it's a tough pitch. It's a tough pitch, no question about it. All right, let's talk JJ Redick here for a second. I want everyone's comments here for just a good few minutes to just focus on JJ Redick. Talk to me about JJ. And you take your time. Nobody's got to come in here and be first or any of that stuff. Just take your time. Talk to me about JJ Redick. Let's spend a few minutes on JJ specifically and how much of this is on his shoulders and how much of it is not fair to say, oh, this is all on JJ Redick. I was listening to JJ postgame, and you know, if I'm being honest with you, some of the conversation is a little bit frustrating when I hear JJ talk a little bit about how Sacramento was shooting at an unbelievable clip. Lakers couldn't make a shot. Sometimes you want a coach to say certain things, And I don't think I heard that stuff from JJ yesterday. So that part frustrated me a little bit. I'll tell you what I mean by that. Um, I think if they maybe took more accountability, he took more accountability. I think if there was a little bit more, this is a very frustrating loss. If you're a Laker fan, I'd be frustrated. Um, put this entire game on me. I don't care how we lost. I don't care what the details were, but it starts with me. And we got no excuses. We got a game coming up tomorrow. You're going to get a better performance from this Lakers team. I can guarantee you that. And he walks off, and I'd be like, all right, well, at least JJ kind of felt a little bit like some of the other fans and everything else. Not that JJ wasn't upset. I mean, JJ, if there's one thing the guy can't hold, is he can't hold his emotions. But there's a little bit of a trend I don't like that I feel like is happening right now with JJ. I feel like the Lakers are becoming the team of excuses. I get you got certain players out. Completely understand that. But it's also fair to say that there are times where I would question the Lakers being connected on the defensive side. I would question some of the rotations. I would question why you're taking certain players out at certain times, like yesterday with Gabe Vincent and Marcus Smart. I would question certain decisions during a game. I'd question if you have the ear of the players at the moment. It's an 82 game grind. You're not, no coach is going to coach perfectly. The best coaches in the NBA are going to go through, struggles, and the teams are going to go through stretches where it feels like they're never going to get out of it. Lakers can maybe start turning things around tonight against Atlanta. But for me, watching JJ right now, as of right now, I'm starting to see a team make a lot of excuses. And I think making some of those excuses only adds to some of the frustration on a night in, night out basis. But I didn't want to make this my own. I honestly, I was looking at some of the post-game comments from yesterday. And here, I'm going to read some of them because a lot of them were geared towards JJ. Here's one that's a little bit more kind of up in the air. This one's talking more about the front office, but let me read this. I can't think of a worse defensive team ever, and it's also unathletic. Pelinka has no idea how to put together a roster. Who the hell else would put these players together and think it would be a good team and you could win? And it kind of goes into what's it going to look like between now and the trade deadline. Let me run this real quick too. Muted that right there. Little no looker. It's not easy to do when you're doing it live. Almost pulled the back muscle. I'm out 3 to 6 weeks. JJ talking bad about this team. JJ, your coach, fix. Tired of, I'm really angry now, fix it. JJ, I don't have any control of the offense or defense, zero control of the team. A lot of people kind of noticing that there's some excuses coming from JJ Redick. All right, let me see if I can get one more in here. This is, again, just the JJ one, and then I'll read some of these comments that we have coming in right now. Here, I'll just start doing that. JJ, bad fit for Lakers rookie coach. Okay, let's get another one here. JJ, turnovers next game, benches, DA last night, old choices. Okay, or odd choices. JJ is building a case to get fired. Mark Walters doesn't excuse only won't excuse excuses, only results. Okay, let's answer this. Wait, let me come to this one. Slee, this was the question I wanted BT to answer. Media tiptoes around JJ's disposition. They do not hold him accountable with tough questions. I think I'll tell you this. I think if there's one franchise you don't have to worry about being held accountable, I think most Laker coaches are held accountable. What I mean by that is they've been recycling coaches. I mean, Frank Vogel wins a championship, and a year and a half, 2 years later, he's gone. Lakers have tried a lot of coaches. So I don't think that's the problem. I think the Lakers, I think they're held accountable. And I think if you're looking at ownership group and you're looking at the direction that the Lakers are going in, if they don't feel it's the right direction, I don't think they're going to hold on to something that they don't feel like makes sense. Now, I think the bigger question is it on JJ or is it more the roster that's put together? Or is it the combination of the two? So I'm not sure about the media not holding him accountable. I think there's more to it than just that. Get another one here. JJ blew up Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham went on TV years ago. He's doing the exact same thing. The hypocrisy. Well, and that was part of JJ's job, right? To be an analyst and to go at, I'm sure be a little bit more critical of some of the different teams out there and everything else. I think there's a little bit to that as well. Thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for the super. Okay. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, what I would look at more than anything else is, look, I think this is the question that is also a fair question. I'm going to go back to a conversation I've had with a few different people now. And I think I mentioned this yesterday. I might have done this with Brad Turner too. With BT yesterday, I asked the question. I've done this now with a few different reporters. I've asked the question of like, hey, when do you start feeling new ownership's imprints on the team, on the roster, and everything else? Well, I think part of that question is also going to be, what does it look like? Does it feel like the organization is going in the right direction? And is JJ Redick or is Rob Pelinka, are they moving the team in the right direction? I think those are all kind of fair questions. And that's one of the questions that we've asked, over the course of the last couple of months or so. But now that new ownership takes over officially, I don't think people have to worry too much about if the Lakers suck and they're, and JJ Redick, I don't think this new ownership group is just going to say, well, Pelinka's under contract, so let's just keep him here for a couple of years, even though the team's not going in the right direction. I don't think they're going to do that with JJ Redick either. Now, I also think neither one of these individuals are on the hot seat or anything like that. But I think the next 1 year could determine Pelinka's future. I think the next 1 year could determine whether JJ Redick is a long-term coach for the Lakers, or is it like maybe they start looking in another direction. But I don't think that's going to happen right now, and I don't think that's going to happen because the Lakers have had a bad month. But I think the question that's going to always be there with this new ownership, you're going to spend some time looking at new ownership, and you're going to ask the question of, well, how are they going to change structurally how the Lakers are built? Jeannie Buss and the Buss family brought Pelinka in. Jeannie Buss and the Buss family brought JJ Redick in. So now it's up to, these other individuals that were part of the old regime to prove that they are the right individuals for the new regime. And that will obviously be tested here basically every single day for the next 1 year to kind of determine whether the franchise is moving in the right direction or not. Great comments, by the way. A lot of good comments. Thank you all for chiming in on all this stuff. This is great. Okay, we're going to get Sammy on here. I want to talk about Rui Hachimura. I want to talk about the Lakers against the Atlanta Hawks. Sammy's going to basically preview this game coming up a little bit later, so we're going to do that. Before we do so, brand new partner on the channel, Harris Resort SoCal. HarrisSoCal.com to go book your getaway. I've mentioned this before. Depending on where you are in Southern California, you're about an hour to 2 hours away from Harris Resort SoCal. It's a perfect getaway spot. It's a perfect place to say, I'm going to go get a staycation. I'm going to go hang out at a badass resort, which, by the way, entertainment, top notch, got really good comedians coming to town. Dining perspective, Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen. I think it's one of the best restaurants in all of Southern California. I've eaten there before. It's phenomenal. They got these just beautiful, luxurious rooms in North San Diego overlooking the Palomar Mountains. If you're looking for a staycation, you want to be smart in not going to have to buy flight tickets and go to, whatever airport and deal with the headache and park in your car. Don't do all that. Get in your car, drive out to Harris Resort SoCal, go to that website, harrissocal.com, and book your getaway today. Shout out to Harris Resort for being a partner. All right, let's get Sammy in here and we could start talking a little bit about the Lakers and the Hawks. But before we do so, of course, we got to spend some time talking about the game from last night. What's up, Sammy? Good morning.
Sliwa, what's up, dude? It's interesting night.
Okay. Let's. I know you're going to come on. So Sammy always does the preview videos, but last night game ends late. I got my show in the morning, so instead of kind of trying to squeeze in another video here, and we got Lakers and the Hawks tonight, we're going to spend some time talking about Lakers and Atlanta. Let me ask you this, and we'll let you break down the Lakers and the Hawks. I was talking about this morning. Sometimes I'm more prepared for a game. Mm-hmm. So I can say Lakers and the Bucks. Yeah, I kind of get it, right? It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be competitive. Yeah. It can go either way. Milwaukee's going to be desperate. They're, obviously trying to get back into the standings. There's certain games I can expect. I did not expect last night. And it wasn't even, this close game where you come up with whatever circumstance you want. Sacramento basically led after Lakers took a 9-point lead, led the rest of the way, and they shot absurd numbers, 60% and 65% from the 3-point line. What did was yesterday's loss different to you, or is it just an L?
Yeah, yesterday was like, so they're on the second night of a back-to-back. Mm-hmm. They are coming off a big win against the Rockets, and you think that they might be a little spent. Yeah, they're probably going to be playing with some confidence, but they took down a really good Rockets team, and they weren't favored in that game. That was a big win. And the Lakers were the slower team. But then they even come out, and to your point, they get the 9-point lead. And you're like, okay, good. Maybe
kind of set the tone.
Set the tone. Maybe the Kings are going to go to bed in this game, kind of going, hey, you know what? We beat a tough Rockets team. We'll see it. And then for it to just flip and the Lakers to have no answers whatsoever in, Malik Monk, Russell Westbrook, DeRozan. I mean, these guys are like, looking like a perennial playoff team, and they're nowhere even near the playoffs. That was their 10th win of the season. It was just a not inspiring effort, and it feels like the Lakers. I don't know. It's just like where's, to your point, I heard the JJ part. Like, where's the inspiration right now? It does feel like it's like, you know what, we're just kind of gonna walk through until Reaves gets back and then hope that everything is fine. It's like Austin Reaves is a great player. That doesn't change. Like, there's a lot more problems than just Austin Reaves coming back. I start with, think of the acquisitions. Laravia 2 points, Marcus Smart 1, DeAndre Ayton 13. So you're telling me that the big 3 acquisitions in the offseason combined for 16 points last night in a game where Reaves was playing?
Here's the bigger problem. The bigger problem is I don't know what anybody's going to do every night. So I would rather have I would rather have I mean, I don't know if this is the best example, and I don't even know if Rui's on that page as well. Just let me know what I'm expecting. But the wild swings from, like, Marcus Smart can give the Lakers 4 threes tonight, or he can give the Lakers 1 point. The wild swings between some of these players, how do you really prepare for what the hell you're going to have on a night in, night out basis?
Well, and it's like, I've said this on a lot of preview videos. I know you have, and it's frustrating. I know a lot of the comments, people feel the same way. Like, you look at DeAndre Ayton, 13 points. Okay, he's 4-7 shooting. Why is he only taking 7 shots? Like, sure. I don't understand why when Reaves is out, Rui doesn't play. You thought Rui was going to play last night. He didn't. And he's still not aggressive. It's just frustrating. It feels like Laker bigs the last, AD was obviously a way better player than DeAndre Ayton. But we talk about it with Anthony Davis. Where was the aggressiveness at end of games? DeAndre Ayton is like, kind of like, I'm along for the ride. And it looks fine when Reaves and Luka and LeBron are cooking. But when one of those guys are not there, or someone has a bad night, I mean, Luka has 42 points and the Lakers get beat by 15 by double digits. It's like how is that happening? It's just it's tough right now.
I wonder if he feels a certain way. I wonder if there's a little bit of Luka that's like, if I told you to describe the perfect team to build around Luka, I would tell you that you have these good-sized wing players around him that can play both sides of the floor, that can hit some threes, that are a threat, have some dog in them, this and that. This guy's kicking the ball out, and it's Vando at the 3-point line, and there isn't somebody within 15 feet from him. And if they put Dalton Connect in to say, okay, well, let me get a sniper and a real shooter in there, we know his inconsistent play. But yeah, that's been a little bit of it's been a circus to watch, because I got no idea what any of these role players are going to give the Lakers. I want to, speaking of just some of the role players, Rui didn't play last night. Yeah. So now they're going to expect him to play tonight. JJ did say that, I guess he didn't realize that they got yesterday after the status report was already out that he was going to be on a heavy minutes restriction, and he's only playing one of the 2 games. So it sounds like there was a little bit of a surprise for JJ as well. So that's why they didn't play him last night. We'll get Rui back tonight. I don't know what to make of this. I think I have an idea. Since Rui has been out, I think he missed 7 games in a row. I got to be honest. I don't really feel like we talked about Rui Hachimura a lot. And I don't know if that means Rui's not as valued as he should be valued. But I'm excited to get Rui back. And I don't, I think obviously I don't know what he's going to do tonight and what he's going to do over the next month. But damn, I'd rather have him in the lineup or not. How much do you think he's valued right now on the team?
I think, I don't know how you feel, but Rui is the one guy. And yes, can Rui be frustrating at times? You talk about consistency. Rui has been a guy for when he's been criticized. Rui can get you 25 points on every once in a while on a night. But then there's also nights where you're like, he's hanging in the 6-7 range. You're like, what? Like not
with 2 rebounds.
Yeah. Not for the pun, but really his inconsistency has been a problem. But the Lakers need 3-and-D guys, and he also can get his own shot sometimes. Rui, the one underrated part about Rui's game is he can at times when Luka or LeBron or Reaves have been going a lot, can kind of get his own shot and bring the ball down the floor off the wing and just create. LaRavia doesn't do that. Marcus Smart doesn't do that. Vando certainly doesn't do that. Connect doesn't do that. All these guys don't do that. They have to get set up in the corner for a shot, and that doesn't always work, as evidenced by the last couple nights. It's been like they couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. So Rui coming back, I think, does help in that regard. He can get you his 14 a night. But, yeah, in tonight's game, Vegas is telling you a lot. The Lakers open as 1.5-point favorites. That's been bet all the way to Atlanta 3.5 with LeBron and Luka on a game time decision. So who knows if either of those guys play? That's why the line is swinging so much. But there'll certainly be opportunities for these other guys. I don't know who's going to step up.
Well, okay, so the LeBron one we could hit on for a quick second, and then we can go from there. And I do want to preview the Lakers, or I do want to preview this game coming up. So. Yes, as far as tonight goes, I think Luka's dealing with something, maybe groin area, something like that. He was saying in the post-game show. So we'll see if he goes tonight. Yesterday, LeBron was asked about the second of a back-to-back and was like, hey, same answer I gave you when we talked about this last week. What do you think happens with LeBron tonight? You think he goes or he doesn't?
I mean, they're basically putting on the game. If Luka and LeBron are not there, it's gonna be, like, if we're being honest, it's gonna be tough for them to get a win against actually a pretty exciting Atlanta team.
Sure. I don't think I'd be surprised if LeBron goes tonight, just because of what he said about second of back-to-backs. I'd be surprised if LeBron plays tonight.
See, I don't know if it's just me personally. I'd rather them just come out and say LeBron doesn't play back-to-backs. Like, I'd rather them just come out and say that versus this whole, like, he's questionable leading into the game, and we all know he's probably not going to play. Like, that's just kind of what it's been. I'd rather them just come out and be like, he's not playing on the second night of back-to-backs. We can shut down that question unless it's a must-win game for the Lakers. It's just it feels like even they saved Rui for the Atlanta game, certainly thinking that they could probably beat the Kings without him. And then now it's getting worse because you lost to them, and Atlanta is a better team than Sacramento, playing really good basketball, and things probably don't bode well tonight if those guys aren't going.
Okay, so for those who don't know, obviously you do your preview video for every Lakers game. Talk to me about Atlanta. Just give me – they make the trade for Trae Young. They got one of the young studs in the league in Jalen Johnson. CJ McCollum now part of that team. Obviously, Nickeil Walker-Alexander, a part of that squad as well. Give us a little bit of a preview for tonight's game.
Well, they're on a 3-game win streak, so they people kind of went, and I think it was fair with the Trae Young deal. They didn't get a lot back. You got a 35-year-old CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert, who is a sharpshooter, the young guy at Gonzaga, but that's not some crazy package you think they'd want.
Can you imagine 3 years ago if you said you were trading Trae Young for a 35-year-old CJ McCollum?
Like, I get that there was kind of a falling out there per reports, and apparently that, but like Trae Young, I know he doesn't play defense and he's small, but this is a guy who has showed up in the biggest moments. There's a reason why everyone in New York hates him. Like, he has, and you could argue that he hasn't always had the most around him. But anyway, he's in Washington, and they've really set up Jalen Johnson, who was a first-round pick out of Duke in 2021. He leads the team in points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game at 24, 10, and 8. So he's almost averaging a triple-double. He's been fantastic.
Think about that for a second. There's a dude in Atlanta averaging 24, 10, and 8. Those are monster numbers. And I don't, what is he, 24 years old, something like that? And the only reason why I'm trying to make a little bit of a big deal about this is it. You're going to watch Lakers and the Hawks the final time this year. They already played them earlier in the season. So if you're a Laker fan out there, you get a chance to watch one of the young studs in the league. But keep going on what you were saying. But Jalen Johnson is a freaking stud.
He's unbelievable. And if he played in a bigger market, he would like be a much bigger star. I think you see this sometimes with guys in Atlanta, and people just maybe aren't paying attention as much because they haven't been, Eastern Conference perennial contenders. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, to your point, averaging about 21. He was kind of that afterthought in Minnesota, and he was kind of a rotational player. Us Laker fans all know he actually had some nice games against the Lakers in the playoffs last year, but he was always kind of second fiddle. I'm sure if you're a Minnesota fan, you're going like, that could have been Anthony Edwards' running mate. Like, that could have been the guy that everyone's been wanting. You let him go to Atlanta. He's really been good down there. Onyeka Okongwu is going to take over the center spot because Porzingis is out tonight. Luke Kennard, Versace, and Asanul are all questionable. Versace is interesting because he was the former number 1 overall pick. He hasn't really quite worked out. Like, he's averaging about 11 points per game, only 3 rebounds per game, which is surprising when you take a big. I know he's kind of a hybrid big, but hasn't really worked out in that regard. But they got a lot of young talent on the team. You obviously got Kispert and McCollum, who just came over. Dyson Daniels averages about 2 steals per game and leads the team. He's a nice rotational guy. And they take about 39 threes a game, shoot about 30%. So they actually shoot the 3 ball really well, average about 118 points a game. This isn't a great matchup for the Lakers. The Lakers got run earlier this year in Atlanta. The teams look very different at that time. But if I was an Atlanta fan, though, I think I'd be more upset that you traded Trae Young with the fact that you could have potentially had a big 3, and not that big 3s always work anymore, but Trae Young, Walker, and Jalen Johnson. Like, I think if you're Atlanta, you're going, you got rid of your superstar that could have just been a scorer, knowing that Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker are actually good defenders. I don't get it from an Atlanta perspective. Maybe they just really wanted him out of town, but this team's up and coming and should be good in the Eastern Conference for the next few years.
It's funny. And okay, first off, I think that's basically the way you're previewing the game tells me this is a tough matchup. I think we already know that. This is a tough game for the Lakers tonight. And like you said, if LeBron doesn't go, or if LeBron and Luka didn't play, I'm not sure what that's going to look like. And this is an Atlanta team that just won they've won 3 in a row. 2 of the games, one was at Denver. I don't care Jokic there or not. That's not an easy place to play. And then the other game was at Golden State, where they just kind of ran the Warriors out the gym. So they've got a couple of impressive wins. I'm going to go back real quick to what you said about the Trae Young stuff. Sometimes I think a lot of it also has to do with fit. And maybe here's what didn't help with Trae Young. Every time they played without Trae Young, they won. Every time they played with Trae Young, they lost. And I think maybe that narrative just kept growing. Now, I thought they could get more for Trae Young. The market says whatever the market says, and he's probably just going to go get paid in Washington, and nothing probably happens from there. But I think the Hawks are in an interesting spot. I think as we look at tonight's game, let me kind of throw this at you. I don't want to be too dramatic here, dangerous territory, this and that, but if the Rockets weren't playing awful basketball, because they are, the Lakers would be in the number 7 seed right now. And what's crazy to kind of look at is the way they start the season. Obviously 6 The way they start the season, you got 6 spots, 7 teams fighting for 6 spots. That almost now becomes kind of the focus for the Lakers, is just make sure you're not in the play-in, and there's no guarantee of that.
Yeah, it is funny in the NBA. Like people want to talk, maybe the critics of the NBA, like it doesn't matter in the regular season or until it gets late. It's like it does, because the Lakers are sitting there as a top 2 seed for most of the top 3 seed for most of the season, and all of a sudden the Western Conference, you look up, you're like, wait, the Lakers are falling down the charts, and this is the easy part of their schedule. This is the time that you thought the Lakers were like, all right, they've kind of not played well against the good teams, the Pistons, the Thunder, the Rockets, all those teams, the Spurs. You thought you're like, okay, well, they'll beat the Kings and Atlanta and these teams coming up. It's like they're not doing it. So it's like, the one silver lining in this, and I know fans don't want to hear this, and it's a bummer for all of us as Laker fans and want to see him go this year. I think this whole acquire defense at the trade deadline was because the Lakers were so good early on, and people are like, wait, does this team really have a shot to go win a championship early on? And we're all kind of like, Reaves is playing unbelievable, all this stuff, and could they be a piece or two away? I think what we've seen recently without Austin Reaves shows you that they're not just like, they need multiple elite defenders to really compete at a high level. Maybe they can get that. If they did, I think they could compete, but it could be the best thing for the team in the long term that they're not selling these picks off at the trade deadline to just try to kind of appease the team now. And then you free up the LeBron salary, and then you have all these picks at your disposal in the offseason. I know it's not what we want to hear, but in the long term,
I don't think a lot of people, I think there's probably a fair share of Laker fans that would agree with you. I think that at the end of the day, what's the goal? The goal is to build around Luka, period. There's just, I mean, that's the reality of the Lakers. You build around Luka. And if you think, if this season you don't feel like you're going to have a legitimate chance to compete for something, well, then don't be reckless. Don't be careless. I will say that, you know, whose stock continues to go up every single day, and whether Laker fans agree with this or not, I think Austin Reaves' stock every single day that goes by,
100%,
continues to go up.
I don't think that's debatable.
And here, somebody can make the argument, say, well, Al, you know, Austin Reaves doesn't play defense, so what does it matter? Here's what I would tell you. I would tell you that because Reaves is such a prolific player and such a prolific on the offensive side, that in a weird way does help the Lakers defense, but it makes also Luka's life a lot easier. It makes a lot of these other role players' life easier. You're not asking them to do as much. I think Reaves' value in this short amount of span has gone up as he's been out.
Well, and yes, you need defense. I see the chat 100%. You need defense to build around Luka, and we know the Reaves defensive woes, the Luka defensive woes, and LeBron at his age not being the same defender he once was. But also look what happens when Luka's by himself. Like he scored 42 points against the Kings, 42 points, and they're losing by double digits. Like he needs someone to take some of the heat off. Like he can't do it all by himself. And I think that narrative gets a little forgotten about when Reaves and him are playing. And I get it. It's tough at defense. Like it's tough watching them get blown by, and you certainly need, you know, obviously Jaren Jackson Jr. would be like the dream center. Not that I think Memphis is going to trade him to the Lakers. You need someone in the front court that is really kind of wreaking havoc down there. But yeah, I mean, he can't do it by himself. Like Luka can't. It can't just be Luka, and I think you're seeing that in the time that Reaves has been out.
Sammy, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you previewing the game. Lakers got the Hawks tonight. What's the rest of the week? So they got Atlanta. Who's after Atlanta? Do we know?
They got Atlanta. I'm pulling it up right here. I had
Charlotte, maybe. I think it's Charlotte. Charlotte on Thursday, I want to say.
Yeah, Charlotte on Thursday, Portland on Saturday, and then another back-to-back, Toronto on Sunday, Denver next week.
That's a tough – I mean, I know the matchups don't sound big, but Atlanta will be tough tonight. At Portland won't be easy. You know, that's never an easy game for the Lakers.
Yeah.
And Charlotte
Portland always seems to play the Lakers. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You got a preview video coming up tomorrow that will preview the Lakers and the Hornets. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming on. And thank you for being a part of the show, okay?
Alan, you're the best, brother. Thank you, everybody.
Right, thank you, buddy. That's Sammy Long right there. Yeah, we kind of tried squeezing that one in. little bit. I was hitting up Sammy this morning. I'm like, all right, well, what do you think about coming on and previewing this game against the Hawks? So I'm glad he was able to do that. All right, let me take a look at some of the comments. There's a few other things I want to get into. We'll call it a day after that. And then obviously I'll be back on tonight talking about the Lakers and the Hawks. One thing I didn't really get into that I'll just key in on. I'll go a little bit further into. I do think there's a conversation right now, the Austin Reaves piece, whether you love him, whether you think he's the right fit, not, whatever the case is. Lakers are significantly better when Austin Reaves is in the lineup, period. Point blank. You don't have to like the fit. You could say, hey, I really don't think that backcourt can win a championship. You can say all that stuff. That's fine. Take Austin Reaves off of this team. They are significantly worse without Austin Reaves, and you cannot convince me otherwise. You could say whatever you want about the fit. You could say whatever you want about the defense, any of that. That's fine. You could make an argument, and I'm okay with that. They have no role players they can depend on. Austin Reaves can set other guys up. He could give Luka a break. There's moments where Luka can get a breather and LeBron and Austin Reaves can still run stuff. I'm not telling you it's perfect. I'm not telling you when Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reaves, it's this perfect rhythm of basketball. But what I am telling you is the stock of Austin Reaves just keeps going up every game that he's not here and every game the Lakers get their asses kicked like they did last night. So that's how I would that's how I would describe it. All right, I did mention this about LeBron, the quote that he had about going back-to-back. Here's what he said. I already answered that question about back-to-backs in New Orleans. Basically, what he said against after the game, was it after New Orleans leading into San Antonio, he said that at 41 years old, it's always a question of whether it's going to be a back-to-back. To be determined, I think was the exact term that he used. So I don't have any insider on this. I just would assume that LeBron doesn't go on a second of a back-to-back. And because this week is so busy, you have 5 games in 7 days. You have another back-to-back coming up on Saturday and Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron doesn't go tonight, plays against the game in Charlotte, and then maybe one of those 2 games over the weekend. So that seems to be where the Lakers are heading, the trend that the Lakers are heading with LeBron. And, for anybody that thinks you should be relying this much on LeBron James, obviously that wasn't the game plan. And if it is the game plan, I don't feel too good about that. I have full confidence in Luka, Mark Walters going forward. Matter of fact, I'd bet on it, put you on money where your mouths are. Can I tell you something? And I said this to somebody yesterday. I'm on the phone and talking to somebody about the Lakers. And I said, I think they're going to be really, really good in a couple of years. What I didn't say is I think they're going to be really good this year. What I didn't say is I think they're going to be really good next year. What I said was I think they're going to be really, really good in a couple of years. Guys, there's some work to be done to this franchise. I think they will get there. I think it's going to take a second. It's going to take some time. All right, let's got a couple of NBA stories that I want to get into. So let's kind of start working on a couple of NBA stories. So we'll do that here in just a second. And I'll look at a few more of your comments. Got a question for everybody real quick. Should I be reading into this Lakers 23rd season? LeBron James will wear a special edition 23rd season jersey patch beginning tonight in Sacramento. This was from yesterday. Topps put this out. The city where he began his legendary career in 2003. The patches will be removed from his jersey after each game, and some will be placed into ultra rare trading cards. Should I read into this at all? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are saying to themselves, what does that mean? Does that mean LeBron is done after this year? I don't know. Pretty cool patch, I'll tell you that. Pretty badass the way it looks. I got to be honest. I got no idea what happens after this year for LeBron. And I think a lot of times I just look at it from a Laker perspective and I don't look at it from any other, angle. I got no idea what LeBron's going to do after this year. I got no idea if he wants to continue playing. I got no idea if LeBron is saying to himself, you know what? When this year's done, if I can't get the type of money I'm looking for in LA, then I'm going to go play somewhere else. I'll go play in New York. I'll go play in Golden State. I'll go play for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Maybe go try to help that franchise, which feels like they're in disarray. I got no idea. But every time you see this happen, that happened, now there's this special patch. I think it's fair for people to be like, try to read into that. What does that mean? I don't have an answer for you. There was an article out there I mentioned a little bit earlier. Sam Vicente put it out in The Athletic. And it's talking about NBA trades I'd love to see. I'll tell you, I'll kind of walk through some of the different trades here. Should I do this? No, it's too long. I'll tell you a couple of them that he's throwing out there that he'd like to see in the NBA, and some that I would tell you that are just a little bit more significant, not really the small deals. Here's what he wants to see. The Golden State Warriors go for one last ride, is how he reported it, or how he worded it. The Golden State Warriors receive Michael Porter Jr. Brooklyn gets DeMar DeRozan, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, Devin Carter, and then some picks. The Sacramento Kings receive Jonathan Kuminga, Haywood Highsmith, and Zaire Williams. We're at that point where, obviously all these trade scenarios are coming up. There's another one that I thought was interesting here as well, that the Pacers get a center, that the Pacers trade for Daniel Gafford. And anytime I see a player that used to play with Luka and had success, it's like, no. Why is he going there? Why does he come to the Lakers? Because the Dallas Mavericks will never make a trade with the Lakers again. I don't think they will. For those that are looking at games coming up tonight, here are some of the games to keep in mind. Suns, who are playing some really good basketball, are in Miami taking on the Heat. The Rockets, who have lost 3 games in a row, host the Chicago Bulls. The Minnesota Timberwolves, who are playing some good ball, are in Milwaukee. The Nuggets are on the road taking on the Pelicans. The Spurs are playing the Thunder again, and then the Blazers and the Warriors. The reason why I break all this down for you is because every single team that's in front of the Lakers or around the Lakers are playing tonight. Spurs and the Thunder again. If the Thunder lose their 4th game in a row against the San Antonio Spurs, my God. But that's a badass matchup. That's at 5 o'clock. Do me a favor. Watch that game at 5 o'clock and then watch the Lakers after that, because Lakers don't start until 7:30 against the Atlanta Hawks. Good games in the NBA. A lot of good games in the NBA. Kick back, chill, enjoy the games. Not bad. Suns on fire. They will take the West Division from the Lakers. Suns are a good team. They're a good team. They play hard too. They got an identity. I think the one thing I could say about the Phoenix Suns, if I said, what is the identity of the Phoenix Suns, I would tell you that I instantly know what it is, where I can't really always say that about the Lakers. Get a couple more in here. Crazy part of what Slee just said is we don't have any players like that. I don't know what I said, but I agree with you. No matter what, I agree. Love to see Ja Morant in Houston. See if they do. Chargers lose. Slee excited. Man, I got an empty hole in me. Of course I want them to lose, but it's still empty. It's like, no, really, all I want is I just want the team back in San Diego. That's all I want. That's all I want. All right. My people, I appreciate the time today. Thank you very much for being here. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Shout out to Harris Resort SoCal. I got a trip coming up here pretty soon that I'm planning on of being at the resort, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you to Sammy for coming on the show and previewing the Lakers and the Hawks tonight. When the game is over tonight, come join me. Come hang out on the post-game show. Hope to have you guys a part of that game or a part of the post-game show tonight. Of course, I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. as well. Thank you, everybody. Hope you guys have a great rest of your morning. And I will see you tonight after the Lakers take on the Atlanta Hawks.